What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you live from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut. And today we are going to be looking at the quarterfinals of the 2022 FIFA World Cup. As crazy as it is, we are already down to our final four teams. I honestly, this World Cup has just been flying by for me. And I've been watching as much as I can. It seems like only yesterday, maybe it seems like 4 or 5 days ago, I was doing the preview video, you know, discussing how each team should be doing. But here we are. We're already at this point where the World Cup's almost over. We only have a handful of games left. Now, heading into this, we were down to our final 8 teams, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down each match one by one. You know, we'll look at the 4 matchups of the quarterfinals, and that'll be it. So anyways, we'll go in order for how they were played, of course. So this match I didn't catch the beginning of, but we had a very good matchup between the reigning runners-up Croatia and the favorites to win the World Cup, Brazil. So this was always going to be a good matchup. And looking at the game, looking at the matchup, like I said, I did miss the beginning of it. I came home right before, like right about 10 minutes into extra time, and I started watching, and I'm like, I gotta watch this, I gotta see what happens. And so the first half was pretty interesting. There was some good competition between the two sides. You had battles back and forth. There were some opportunities specifically on the side of Brazil. They had a couple more opportunities from what I saw. Keep in mind, I only saw highlights. And then the second half, you kind of started to see a little bit more momentum swing, but Brazil was still kind of dominating. It's just they weren't getting the finishes. Croatia had a couple chances, but it wasn't what they were hoping for. So we were at the point where it looked like, okay, what's going to happen? We go into, you know, added extra time after the second half, and still nothing happens. So because it's the quarterfinals, we make it to an extra 30 minutes of bonus soccer, football, if you will. And this was always going to be close. So, you know, as an American, I don't watch as much soccer as I could, and I kind of was in this position where I completely forgot that they break up the extra time. When they do that, they break it into the 2 parts there, so you get 15 minutes. And I'm like, okay, what's going to happen? So, you know, they hold up the marker, and I'm like, wait, they're doing extra, is it only 15 minutes? Nope. So anyway, the you know, scores a goal pretty quickly. So next thing you know, it's 1-0 Brazil. He scores on the 105th minute plus 1 minute into extra time. So it was just, or added time, I should say. So it was a crucial goal for Brazil. Momentum heavily swings in their favor. So what happens is, you know, you get the pause. Brazil decides to take a defensive approach. Croatia decides to take an offensive approach. You gotta, you know, focus on getting goal scorers. Croatia's kind of selling out. If we allow a second goal, if we lose 2-0, who cares? We gotta tie the game up. That was Croatia's goal. Brazil's goal is just, you know, play some solid defense. But they had already made some substitutions at that point, which hurts them. They had made some offensive-minded substitutions. So, wasn't good. Now, we end up getting a little bit into the second portion of the added time, extra time. And we get to this point where 117th minute. So, it's pretty much a game that Brazil should be winning. The momentum is heavily in their favor still. All of a sudden, Croatia gets the ball, they march their way down the field, and they score a goal, tying it up 1-1. The fans were just in absolute shock. The Brazilian fans were. The Croatian fans were going crazy. Everyone's just watching the game like, this was an instant classic. You can kind of tell. If this was the World Cup final, we would not have been disappointed, for sure. Brazil gets some stuff going after Croatia scores that goal, but they're unable to capitalize, so we go to penalty kicks. And it's always brutal when your team goes to penalty kicks because you're on the edge of your seat, and it's like a shootout in hockey as an American. I'm kind of watching it. I'm like, this is so brutal. So I got it on my phone. I'm kind of walking around. Croatia goes first. They make their first penalty shot. Brazil goes up. The Croatian goalie who has been absolutely stellar. He had an amazing shootout or penalty kick showing against Japan last round in the quarterfinals, or in the round of 16. Sorry, makes a good save. Granted, it was a bit of a lackadaisical kick, but makes a great save. Croatia's up 1-0 through the first round. Next thing you know, Croatia goes in, scores another one. And these are pretty simple goals. They're making the Brazilian goaltender kind of overthink. They're kicking right down the middle, and they're making him commit to diving down to the side. So it's 2 goals that he should have been made. It's 2 things he should have saved, but... So then Brazil comes in. It's a much needed, you need to score here. You're down 2-0, and they score. So that puts you in a situation, you're going into the third round, 2-1 Croatia in the penalty kicks. Croatia goes up. Luka Modric, of course, big name, biggest name on the Croatian side. He goes in, scores. 3-1. Brazil kind of needs to score from Pedro. He scores. 3-2. So it's like, okay, this is going to be an offensive penalty shootout. Croatia, fourth round, up 3-2, scores. This means that because it's 4-2, they need one more goal or one more stop, one more save to win in advance. So that puts all the pressure on Brazil. The Brazilian player goes up to kick the ball, and he gets a good shot off, but unfortunately for him, it hits the goalpost and bounces out. No goal. Croatia wins in penalties. 1-1 was the final score. Croatia in penalties, 4-2. Great matchup, great stellar performance. Big ups, not the biggest upset in the world, but a big upset. I was expecting Brazil to win. I mean, Brazil were the favorites to win the World Cup. Great showing for them, but Croatia, really good showing. Impressive for Croatia, for sure. So the second game that day was between Netherlands and Argentina. Now, this is another heavyweight Argentina taking on the Dutch, who are an older squad, another favorite, another good team. And the first half was relatively quiet. There was 1 goal scored by Argentina, and it was pretty obvious that Argentina had the stronger attack. But even when I was kind of discussing this game, previewing the game to an extent, I did mention I thought Argentina was going to be able to kind of push Netherlands because of how the Dutch play and how the Argentines play. So that 1-0 Argentina. 20 minutes in the 73rd minute, Messi gets a penalty kick, and Lionel Messi being Lionel Messi, he scores. So it's 2-0 Argentina. At this point, what happens is Netherlands, they have to go out and make defensive substitutions. Or offensive substitutions. You gotta, okay, guys, we gotta focus on offense. Midfield is gonna take a hit. We gotta focus on scoring goals. So in the 83rd minute, they get a goal. 2-1 in favor of Argentina. The Dutch aren't celebrating their, let's get to business. We can't celebrate. So this game goes into extra time. Obviously, it goes into the added time, I should say. And there's a lot of added time due to some injuries, a lot of stoppage of play. You know, of course, the penalty kick that Messi got took a couple minutes to set up. So in the 90th minute and the 11th minute of added time, the Dutch go out and they score another much-needed, required goal, tying the game up at 2 apiece. So with that game being tied 2-2, we head into extra time. Now, extra time was a very offensive, back-and-forth kind of, we're going to take an opportunity here, but neither team was able to connect. So that brought us to penalty kicks for the second game in a row that day. The Dutch go first. Missed their first kick. Argentina, Messi, of course, takes the first one. You got to set your stage first. Messi scores. In the second round, the Netherlands, they missed their second attempt. Argentina scores on their second attempt. So this immediately, you know, the Dutch have their backs up against the wall. Argentina is ready to go. Netherlands, they need to score their third shot. They do. However, Argentina scores on their third shot. So at this point, Argentina just needs to make 1 stop or score 1 more time, and they advance. On the flip side, the Dutch need to score both and save both. Netherlands goes up, and the guy who had scored their first 2 goals, the only 2 goals of that game so far, goes in, and he makes his penalty kick, so it's 3-2 Argentina. Argentina goes up, misses, doesn't score. So it's 3-2 in the penalties, but still favors Argentina. What happens next? The Netherlands score. So the first 3 opportunities have gone in favor of the Netherlands. They needed a goal, they scored. They needed a save, they didn't score. They needed a goal, they scored. Now Argentina, their back's up against the wall. Lau Martinez comes up. He needs to score. And he does. So that was a very good showing for them. The Argentinian players were going crazy, and I can't blame them. It was a very, back and forth game. It was a better game than I was expecting. I was expecting possibly an offensive slaughter to an extent by Argentina. Didn't happen. So the Netherlands, I will give them credit. They did better than I was expecting them to do. I was expecting a good game, but I was expecting it to be maybe a little bit more high scoring. So 2-2 probably should have been about what I was expecting. Solid showing for them. Congratulations to Argentina for advancing. So then the next game we had was an interesting one between Morocco and Portugal. Now, at this point in time, Portugal coming off a 6-1 drumming of Switzerland, Morocco coming off an penalty kicks victory over Spain. Morocco completely dominated the pace of play in the first half of this game. Now, I'm not saying Portugal didn't have chances. They had chances in the first half of the game. But Morocco had almost every chance in the game. In that first half, they were just consistently threatening the goal. If you watch the highlights of this game, you saw Morocco constantly right up against the goal in that first half. And they do end up scoring in the 42nd minute. It was a good goal. It was a crazy goal. It was a good goal for them. Momentum, the crowd gets into it, and all of a sudden, we're going in the second half, 1-0 Morocco. Now, the second half, you started to see a little bit more momentum, but pretty early in the half, I think it was like the 52nd minute, 53rd minute, Morocco had a free kick pretty close to the goal, and they almost scored. Had they scored, the momentum would have heavily changed even more so in favor of Morocco, but they didn't. From then on, it became more Portugal trying to get opportunities, but like I said, I thought could happen. Morocco they controlled the pace of play. They controlled the game. They played the game how they wanted to. And that is your worst nightmare if you're playing Morocco. You cannot let them play. You cannot let them do what they want to do. You need to dictate the pace of play. And they were unable to do that. So Morocco is just able to frustrate you with their strong, solid defense. Morocco was able to hold on and upset Cristiano Ronaldo, knock out Portugal, knock out arguably the favorites at that point, with Brazil having been eliminated, with Belgium having been eliminated, knock them out, and continue their miraculous run, breaking the curse of Africa, so to speak. No African team had ever made it this far to the semifinals. So Morocco is the first African team to punch their ticket. With that, I'm sure they have all of Africa's support. If you are not a fan of one of the three other teams that are in the semifinals, odds are you are, at least to an extent, hoping Morocco makes the run. I would be lying to you if I said I hope, I don't want Morocco to make a run. It would be really cool to see them win, but we'll have to see. So the last game was the game I was the most excited about. Of course, England versus France. And this is the game that I kind of was watching. I'm like, okay, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Early on, 17th minute, France scores a goal. France is probably the better team. France versus England. I kind of was expecting France to take a lead early. Then you had a bit of a defensive battle from there. And it got interesting to end the first half. Each side did have some chances. Specifically, England got some chances. France had probably more chances in the game, but England had a few better chances. They just failed to connect on them. And that was something that they had to do. They had to connect on these chances. To end the first half, it was France 1, England 0. So France had the upper edge, and they're, big enemies going into the half. Now, Harry Kane gets a penalty kick in the 54th minute, and Harry Kane is arguably one of the best players in the world. He is one of the best players in the world. He goes out there, he scores on the penalty kick to tie it up 1-1. Maybe the biggest goal in his career. Again, I don't follow league level soccer, so I can't tell you club level soccer. I can't tell you, but possibly the biggest goal in his career. Ties it up 1-1. From there, both sides still had chances. And again, there were better chances on England's side, but they weren't really able to convert. Now in the 78th minute, Giroud for France comes out, scores a crucial go-ahead goal, gives France the 2-1 lead. England kind of makes some moves. They try to, get more pressure, try to score, get offense out there. Unfortunately for them, it was not enough. France is able to hang on with a 2-1 victory. So, great showing for England this year. I know it's not the way you wanted the World Cup to come to an end, especially losing to your big enemies in soccer, being France, but at the same time, it's a great showing. You made it to the quarterfinals. You didn't take a loss until you played France. So you did what you had to do. You crushed the Welsh. You crushed the Iranians. So it was what you needed to do if you were England. Obviously, they wish they made it farther. And if I was English, I might have a different opinion. They crushed the Senegalese. So it's tough, but good showing. France, you're the defending World Cup champions for a reason. So in conclusion here, to wrap it up, we have our two matchups coming up here in the semifinals. Now, the one that I'm a bit more excited about is going to be the second one. The first one's going to be Argentina and Croatia. That will be tomorrow, so I will definitely be watching that game. I'm looking forward to it. Argentina, Croatia. It's going to be interesting if the Croatian midfield solid defense can stop Messi and the strong Argentinian attack. As for the other game, you got France versus Morocco. This is the one I'm extremely excited about because you have probably the favorites for sure. The favorites in the World Cup at this point being France, who are left. And you have the darling of the World Cup right now. The way Morocco's been playing, the way that they can play, the talent that they have. If they can control the pace of play in this game, they have a very strong chance to pull off the victory and knock out France. To make my predictions here, and again, no guarantees, I'm going to be right. I think that the way that both these games are going to be played, they're going to be must-watch soccer, must-watch football, if you will. So it's going to be so fun to watch. I think that you're probably going to see one upset and one favorite team win. I think that Argentina should be able to get past Croatia. Unfortunately, I do think that that's what's going to happen. I shouldn't say unfortunately. I do think Argentina will upset Croatia or beat Croatia. I do think it'll be like a 2-1 victory in favor of Argentina. And then for the other game, I think Morocco will be able to control pace of play to an extent. I think it will be 1-1 going to extra time. That's where Morocco will shine. And I think Morocco might be able to pull off the victory if the game goes to penalties. If it doesn't, I think France will win 2-1. So I do think both games will be close 2-1 if I had to guess at this point in time. Ideally, I'd love to see Croatia take on France again. It would be cool to see a rematch, and hopefully Croatia would win this time. But it wouldn't be a problem if Morocco takes on Croatia. I mean, whatever matchup you get, I'm happy either way. This has been a great World Cup. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I hope you guys are enjoying the series. I will be doing 2 or 3 more World Cup videos. We will see. It depends on how things go for me. Because I'll definitely be doing one to discuss, how the semifinal games go. And I might do one to discuss how the final goes. And then I might do a third one breaking down the entire World Cup. But I probably wouldn't. So either way, no matter what, hope you guys are enjoying this. Hope you guys are enjoying the World Cup. Stay safe out there. Have a good rest of your day.